Hi, Joe Volpe, publisher of Corriere Canadese, North America's only Italian language daily newspaper, here today on behalf of Go Live TV and the Corcan Media Group. My guest at this interview is none other than Councillor James Pasternak.
It's great to be here, Joe.
Thank you very much. Now, not only is he a council, he's actually a candidate to replace himself at the upcoming municipal elections in the new ward riding called York Centre. But you're a councillor for Ward 10. Where the heck is that?
Well, the provincial government has passed legislation to take us from an election of 47 wards to 25 wards.
Some people think that's a good idea.
Well, I'll tell you something. It's an $11 billion a year organization. To run it with 25 councillors is going to be a very tough task.
So the $11 billion organization, you're talking about Toronto City.
That's the operating. We're bigger than some of the provinces and most North American cities as well. And to get things done, you often need strong political oversight. And that's what we're going to be losing.
You think that that's what councillors provide?
Yeah, to get things done, you need three things. You need a funding source, you need the support of the civil service, and you need political will and political power. And when you
take the more of that, the better?
Yeah, I would say so. But I should say that I also respect, this is in the hands of the courts, it's out of the hands of politicians, and I will respect and run with whatever the courts decide.
So, but right now, the way that the legislation, I think it's Bill 5, essentially indicates that you're going from 47 to 25, 25 being the magic number of federal and provincial ridings because they overlap.
That's right.
Right here in the city. And the riding you're going to run in is York Centre.
That's right. So it combines Ward 9, the current Ward 9 and 10 together. It takes my 68,000 constituents and adds another 50 and change, let's say 52,000. So it creates a fairly large geographical size, but I'm very excited about the opportunity of combining the two wards and running.
So in your ward, in this new riding, you face the same challenges that so many other of your colleagues currently in City Council face, and that is that you're going to be running against another City Council member. Yeah,
look, I mean, it's not unknown at either the provincial or federal level when you redistribute boundaries, federal boundaries or provincial boundaries, you sometimes have situations in which incumbents have to run against each other. And it's a great opportunity for us to tell our story, to talk about our track record, and to talk to the people of a larger community about the things we can get done.
But geographically, this York Centre, and now for you in Ward 10 and Ward 9, the area that I guess is best described as Downsview Park, de Havilland Airport, that splits the riding into two halves, does it not?
It does. So everything from Bathurst Street to Jane Street, and then up to Steeles, and then down Keele and along Long Grand Ravine, with the 401 being the southern boundary, that will be all one political geographical area, represented by one councillor.
Well, they're represented by one MPP and one MP.
Well, I mean, nothing against my colleagues at the federal and provincial level, and I know you're a federal MP, but I can tell you that people understand that it's the municipal government that affects their day-to-day lives more than any other level of government. And
so, well, then why don't we stop there for a second? Okay? I always get sensitive about people talking about my days in Parliament. Something about your days at City Hall. So, I've known you for a long time, James. So, rather than me tell everybody what you're like, why don't you tell me how it is that you got yourself elected, and on various occasions. You started off as a school board trustee.
I did start off as a school board trustee. As a little boy, I was absolutely enthralled with Canadian politics, American politics. I was a news junkie, and I knew one day I would run for elected office. So back in 2006, I ran for the school board. I was successful. I served a 4-year term there, and then an opportunity came up to run for City Council, and so I've served almost 8 years on City Council, and it's very exciting.
So, what have you done in that time? Let's say it's City Council. Forget about school board for a moment.
Yeah, so City Council, I mean, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your local community is serviced, that they get their fair share of investment, of infrastructure, of recreational assets, of excellent parks, We want to.
But those are just words now, James. Now, you don't feel offended, but those are words. Like, what? This is the reason why people are confused about city councils. Like, what is it that a councillor does? You're telling me, a fair share of assets. What assets are you talking about?
Well, people's day-to-day lives are shape what goes on in their local community.
Like what?
Well, the local park, the speed at which people are driving down their streets, the local recreation center, the police patrols, the tree planting.
Police still patrol?
Police are obligated to patrol.
Okay.
And these are the things that a local city councilor has to advocate for. And we've made great progress in Ward 10, and I want to share that with Ward 9, the combined York Centre.
So, when you're talking about, recreational community centers, etc., there are people who think that Toronto is not serviced well enough by them. Does that mean that you're going to build more?
Well, you don't have to build an entire facility to service people better. You open up programs, you create capacity, you bring in more instructors, you lower the fees, you make sure it's accessible. That's the way we've done it in Ward 10, and it's made a big difference. And another advancement, of course, is stopping basement flooding. We've been able to secure...
Because in many cases, that's the city's fault because it's allowed the infrastructure to collapse.
Well, I mean, some of the infrastructure is quite old, but we're making great headway. In Ward 10, we've had great success in investing in stormwater and sewer management. We've secured the funds, and we've stopped basement flooding for the most part. And we want to share that success in Downsview and its surrounding communities.
And say, okay, let's, that sounds like a good idea. I think I'm going to move into Downsview, but I can't move my house with me, so.
Well, look, I mean, we have an obligation also to protect the integrity of communities, to make sure that there's reasonable development, and not, we don't want to turn Downsview Park into a subdivision, which is now what's happening. And we want to make sure.
That's the proposal. That's the proposal. Bombardier is getting out of that Downsview Park area, and has sold it to a pension fund of civil servants.
Well, look, I can tell you that pension fund is going to look to convert that to residential from employment, and I will vigorously fight that conversion. We will not allow those lands to turn into a subdivision.
Because that's a speculative purchase, isn't it? I mean, we wrote about how much that's worth. There's no way that land is worth as much as that pension fund is
They overpaid. They overpaid based on the ill-conceived view or plan that they hope to convert that from employment lands to residential. And we will vigorously fight.
But not necessarily single-family dwellings, condominiums.
It could be a combination. It could be mixed housing. It could be social housing. It could be single-family detached. It could be stacked townhomes. Residential intensification is not going to happen there because we will not allow them to convert that to residential.
But how many other councillors feel as you do with respect to that particular site? That's the biggest area in Toronto.
It is one of the biggest real estate plays in the city, and we need a local voice to protect the local neighborhoods, protect the integrity, to stop the intensification of our lands, to make sure we preserve parkland, and to make sure we stop all the cut-through traffic.
Yeah, I know you've gone up and down it because that Allen Roadway is the one that actually divides. Allen Roadway Dufferin divides that thing in two.
Yeah, no,
you have to be born on the other side of the street in order to cross it, right?
Look, we've made some great headway. We've opened up a new subway, north-south, through York University up to Vaughan, which has taken thousands of cars off the road. It's a great infrastructure transit investment we're very proud of. It runs through the area I represent, and it runs through all of York Centre. And we have to make sure that we have traffic calming strategies, that we protect local roads, that we have enforcement from police services, we lower speed limits, put in stop signs, put in speed humps, protect pedestrians and kids and seniors.
So if we can just stop for a quick second on safety and security, because you've talked about policing, etc. So you were part of a council that said essentially unanimously somebody's got to do something about the gun violence in Toronto.
Yes.
Well, what's the police doing?
The conversation over gun violence is very complicated because we need the other two levels of government to come to the table. We need the federal government for tighter border control and the smuggling of illegal guns from the United States. We need the provincial government on side to reform, for justice reform, for tightening up on bail conditions, for making sure that we have the proper tools we need to make sure our community is safe. So we need those other levels of government to come on side. We need a national conversation. Municipalities alone won't be able to do it.
So what I'm hearing you say, and you please correct me, is that first of all, you want the federal government to make sure the guns don't come into the place. Then, secondly, you want the provincial government to put in place criminal or judicial framework that says, okay, if we catch you, we're going to deal with you really quickly and severely.
Yes.
So what's left for the municipality to do?
Well, we control the police forces, and we control some of the preventative policing strategies. So we're bringing in new technologies. We're bringing in new policing methods. We have to get back to some of the preventative policing strategies, but we're also bringing in those social programs which help marginalized neighborhoods, make sure kids are off the street, engaged in their local communities, whether it's athletics, the arts, or civic engagement, making sure that our school boards invest heavily in special education and mental well-being.
But you don't have any control over that. I mean, that's the province that does that latter part.
I can tell you, a voice at City Council telling the province to invest in their school boards in mental wellness and special education will make a big difference on the streets. These people who are involved in guns, either the school system has given up on them or they have given up on the school system. We have to fix that.
So you need a fourth area jurisdiction to get into the play.
We do need the school boards. The education system is fine, but it's not handling that piece.
So, recently there was another school jurisdiction, not the one that you were a trustee for, but the other one. And they were involved in a big, massive construction project.
Yeah. So the Columbus Center, are you talking about the Columbus Center?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, we clearly wanted to come to the defense of the Columbus Center. This was a crucial gathering space for the Italian community and other communities as well. The Jewish community uses it quite regularly. A beautiful facility, which I visited on several occasions. Cultural, athletics, just a beautiful place, and we fought hard to keep it, and we have. We preserved it.
So you voted, I remember seeing you at a couple of those city council or community council, because it had to go to community council. It went from city council to community council, back to city council, to a preservation board, and then back to city council. What was the outcome?
That's right. So at the end of the day, the Columbus Center is saved. The Catholic School Board is looking at an alternative site to build their high school. But this vital cultural center for the Italian community is preserved in its current form. And that's what the city is responsible for, to make sure that facilities that are important to their local communities are saved. And we did that.
So that's the kind of thing that you stand for going forward.
That's right. I mean, our history is very important, our cultural integrity. Everyone has a personal history on the lands they came from. Canada is a nation of newcomers, and we have to respect not only where they came from, but create those sort of cultural gathering spaces that are so important to the local community.
And that's a job of the city council.
Well, it's a planning, zoning issue, and people underestimate the power of the city to make those decisions. And I think we were on the right side of history, and we've gotten a lot of positive response. It was a good, strong decision to save the Columbus Center.
Good. Okay, well, I think we're run out of time, James.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we could talk some more. But so I'm speaking with James Pasternak, current city councilor for Ward 10 and candidate for city council in York Centre on the election on the 22nd. Presumably, if the court makes a decision. Otherwise, it's things back as they were.
Back to the 47 wards.
Anyway,
we'll
good luck to you.
Thank
All the
you
best.
so much. It's a
Take
pleasure
care,
being
and
here.
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
Joe.
here. Joe Volpe on behalf of Corriere Canadese, Go Live TV, and Corcam Media Group, inviting you to stay tuned for other such interviews as we make our way towards the municipal election. Thank you very much. Have a good day.